right, welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is a 2D fighting game called Bounty Battle. Bounty Battle is basically the indie Smash Brothers, or at least it wants to be. It's got 25,
30.
20 plus characters. It says 30. It's got characters from Darkest Dungeon, Guacamelee, Dead Cells, Owlboy, and more. And they fight and they bite, and that's what you do in a fighting game, basically. So we got the Nintendo Switch version on this one. So over to the Galax. He has words and opinions on this game.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to like this game. The idea of what it is and the characters that they got together are a pretty cool combination. But there are just a lot of... caveat, apparently the Steam version has been getting some updates that make it better, hopefully. I don't know if the Switch has gotten any of those yet. If it has, it still needs more. First structural problem, when you're selecting a character or when you go into a fight against a character, it doesn't tell you the character. I mean, the voice tells you what the character's name is, but they're doing kind of a gravelly announcer voice, so I can't always tell what they're saying. Especially for characters I'm less used to. But the only text on the screen is what game they're from, including like the 4 or 5 characters that are from this game out of those 30 that are like originals. Because apparently there's some sort of meta plot thing about the dark portals bringing people to a world and you have to fight to get out or something. I'm not sure exactly. Second structural problem, the only multiplayer is local, so unfortunately my friend that I like to try to play games with had a bit of a sore throat this week and we didn't want to risk getting together, so we didn't have time to play with anybody local. There's no online version. There's no control mapping, and while most of it's fine, I would have liked to swap the jump and dodge buttons. A lot of it works kind of like Smash Brothers, but there are parts that don't. And being so similar in concept makes it really obvious. You can't duck under things, which makes it tricky when characters are of significantly different heights, such as Azel, who is the original character, who's the first one that you get to play as, and some of the really short guys. Her main weapon, Azel's main weapon, is a bow and arrow, and some of her basic attacks will just go over people's heads if you can't keep the range right. This game also has, I mean, part of it, like, the game has a glitch aesthetic because portals and crossing over things, like when you take damage, your character looks like it's glitching out more. But also, like, there are significant lag on menus and at the beginning of fights and stuff, and sometimes on respawning, I think. If it's not that, it's an intentional longer delay than I'm comfortable with on those things. And the controls are just nowhere near as precise as Smash's are. They did try to, while every character has unique things about them, they did try to codify that, like, up and weak attack is an anti-air or whatever, so that the moves for the different characters have more or less the same uses, even though they're different in execution, which is nice. But overall, between the multiplayer being local only and the way that, I mean, there is a single-player challenge mode where you can just play as any character and whatever, and you can also do quick play, I believe, against a computer. But the quote-unquote story, well, what I'd call the story mode, the tournament setup, is very restrictive. Every character, I guess, has a 5-stage tournament where some of this, like, one of the stages is one-on-one, one of the stages is, like, a free for all, one of the stages, and then the last one is a boss. But like for example, one of the stages on Azels, you have to win by knocking the opponents out of the ring. Oh, that's another thing this is missing. When you throw, I don't think you can pummel or do. When you grab, I don't think you can pummel or do directional throws. It pretty much just seems like you have one throw. Which reminds you of another thing. So this game has a lot of weird effects around it, or like theoretically, there are like little flash effects around your character that indicate when you're being grappled, when you can try to break free from a grapple, when you have a status effect on you and stuff. But they're really tricky to pick up in the heat of the moment, and I didn't find them that useful, unfortunately. But anyway, like one of the battles you had to win by knocking opponents out of the ring, which is a bit harder with a bow and arrow user, who is the first one you can play as. And this is what I was getting at when I was trying to bring tournament mode up. You start out with one character you can play tournament mode as. When you beat that, you get to play as one more, and presumably so on and so forth. And you don't get to choose who's who, and the first two are both characters that are original to this game, which is, I don't think, what people are necessarily going to want to do first. I think a lot of the appeal would probably be doing like, oh man, I want to see what Otis from Owlboy's story mode is, or the Beheaded from Dead Cells, and or what their specific matches are, but you can't necessarily do that until you get there. The music is pretty decent, fighty action music, but nothing stood out hugely to me. Apparently there are 16 stages. I didn't see all of them because I spent way too long on that one try to ring people out with bow and arrow character stage. Do you guys have any questions on it? Because overall, like, I really like the idea that they're going for here, but just it's the controls aren't snappy. There are a lot of options that aren't there that I wish were. Overall, I just didn't have that much of a fun time playing it, unfortunately.
Seems like the Steam reviews agree with you.
Yeah, they seem to.
Did you guys have any other questions? I mostly only played as the characters for the first two story modes, or the first two tournaments. I played a few challenge matches that are just random sorts of things as Otis.
Not really, no.
Like you have a double jump. It's the same thing. There don't seem to be items like in Smash Brothers. But you have like in addition to a weak attack and a strong attack, and each of those has an up variation that's one of them, like up attack that's an anti-air, down attack that's like a charge attack, which is kind of like a smash attack, but most of them don't have the range you'd want them to have. The heavy attacks and special attacks take some energy that you have that I think builds up over time or from doing things. You can press weak attack and strong attack at the same time to do an ultimate attack, and the right trigger to do a special attack when you have those available, which there's a thing on the HUD that lights up to tell you when you can do that. And also, like there is a mechanic, the bounty mechanic, which sounds like a good setup for when you are like playing in multiplayer, like from doing damage to other players, and when you're doing well, other players get more from either, I think, damaging you or KOing you. You get bounty points, and then you can use the bounty points to do things like summon what are basically assist trophies. And I think that also helps get special gauge and stuff. Again, I couldn't actually do the versus mode with a friend. So again, there are some neat ideas here. Just there are a lot of problems with the execution, unfortunately. So at this point, I don't think I could actually really recommend getting this. Unless it's like maybe I don't know. I have no idea how much this actually costs. I haven't checked. I don't do that.
$20.
If you could get this at a super deep discount, maybe. But really, and I know unfortunately it's really hard for a gaming company or developers to improve their games when it's not selling well. But
and it costs $24.99 on the Switch. It's on sale on $19.99 there. Oof.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I can recommend this, which is sad because I'd like to see it get a lot better, but I'm not sure how much better you could make it without tearing the whole thing down and like starting over from scratch on some of the performance issues and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool idea, but unfortunately, and that would be again if you have like a friend to play co-op with. If you could get it for like $2 maybe at the current state. Again, the Steam version might have. I think the Steam page said it had some updates, so those might be coming to the Switch. I don't know, but I really can't recommend it in its current form. But I wish it was good.
That is unfortunate. Anything else on Bounty Battle here?
Not much. You guys, I do like the interesting combination of characters. They're not all from like obvious indie games either. So some of them are from like less popular ones that maybe if this was good, it would give them some boost. I keep thinking the guy from Death's Gambit is the Drifter from Hyper Light Drifter, but he's not.
Duly noted. All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I could recommend this, but in its current form, I kind of can't.
It has been noted.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that'll about do it for Bounty Battle here. Be sure to tune in after the break as we will be reviewing room number 9.